Hey folks, what's up? Stan Bader here. And a while ago, I did a video on how to speak at a tech conference and kind of how to get in to a tech conference like PyCon. Like I was talking about how I spoke at PyCon Germany and how I got my talk into that conference. Now, I was talking about how, you need to kind of submit talks to these conferences and write an abstract for your talk and just kind of try and pitch your talk to these conferences and then hopefully get in. And so I think that that is viable. It's possible to pull that off as a beginner, even with no prior speaking experience, but it could also be a bad experience, right? Like if you're overextending yourself and like speaking, in front of a couple of hundred people and you're going to have a bad time, it's going to be recorded on video. This could also really suck. So I don't want to scare you out of that. If you think you can pull it off, go for it. Absolutely. Let me know how it went. I wish you all the best. But I wasn't able to do that. I had to work my way up to get into bigger conferences over time, right? And so the way I built up that skill and built up kind of that confidence and just being comfortable doing that, I'm still, like, to be honest with you, like I'm still scared shitless every time I give a presentation, but I just noticed that the quality that comes out at the end has gotten much better over the years, and it doesn't show as much, but I still feel the same, basically, to be perfectly honest with you. But okay, so the angle in this video is going to be how, what are some other ways I can build this speaking skill so that eventually I can go in and use my skills at a bigger tech conference. Okay, so here's the approach that worked for me. Basically, try and speak as much as you can at work in your current job. If there's an opportunity for you, to give like a presentation over lunch just to your colleagues and developer friends on some kind of technical topic, absolutely go for it. It's going to be a very comfortable setting. People are going to sit around. They're going to be eating lunch. Just 3, 4, 5 of your colleagues and friends there. Sit down, give them like a 10, 15-minute presentation on some tool that you found, or just walk them through it and get some experience doing that. Like this is, I think anyone could do that or could build up the courage to do that. I know it's still hard to do that in the beginning, especially with people, that you actually care about and care about their feedback. But this is a really good way to start building these speaking skills in like a comfortable setting. Now, I think a step after that could be either trying to speak, to a bigger audience at your company or, the people you work with, like, go from 3 people to maybe 30 people. Maybe you could give a presentation for a whole department or something like that. If you're working at a startup or a company where this is actually possible, that would be a way to scale that up. Another way would be, and this is actually what I would recommend, is to go to development meetups. So a meetup group is just a bunch of people who are interested, in one topic, like let's say Python or JavaScript, and they meet usually on a regular schedule, and people will give presentations, and often there will be food, and then people just talk about this stuff. And there is a really good site where you can find these meetup groups, and that is at meetup.com. And these meetups are usually put on, by people in the community. Very often it's companies who are sometimes trying to hire people, from a meetup, or like it's a way for them to kind of show that they're a cool place to work at. And almost every bigger city will have a meetup scene like that. So these meetups are great to gain more speaking experience because it's a lot easier to get in. The stakes are lower. You can just go there, speak to a group of, depending on the size, like 10, 20, 30. Some meetups get like super popular, but you can pick a smaller meetup to start with and just give a presentation to these people. And the way you get in there is you don't really write like a big proposal and an abstract and all of that. You just talk to the people who put on the meetup, right? You just find the organizer. And usually they're desperate for people to give presentations because usually it's all on the organizers. So reach out to them, just email them or go to the meetup and actually talk to them in person. Be like, hey, I've got this idea. Could I give a presentation at one of your next meetups? I really like what you're doing and I would love to be a part of it. And like 99% of the time, people are going to go for it. And it is a perfect like learning ground to get your feet wet with your presenting skills and just, get into that habit of speaking in front of people. And so I would absolutely recommend going that route, starting with a meetup group. And then you can expand from there, right? Like it's not a super big jump from going from speaking at a meetup to speaking at a conference, right? It's very similar in terms of what will be involved. Like a meetup is going to be like less organized, less professional in some ways. Some of them are, like many of them are, and they're smaller. But this is a really good way to get your feet wet, and you could look for actual like larger conferences or look for bigger and bigger meetup groups and just get comfortable speaking in front of larger crowds. And this is a really, really good way to ease into this whole thing of becoming a speaker at a tech conference. Because it's super worthwhile and it's gonna pay off in so many ways in like the relationships you build with people. Even speaking at a smaller meetup will be great for that. I mean, even speaking at your company across teams will be great for that. So absolutely do that, and then try and build from there. And I think it would be totally possible to go from like haven't spoken at any conference ever or meetup to like I'll be speaking at a tech conference in 12 months, like and have a success with that, like not just walking out and like completely bomb, but like building up those skills enough that you could give a good like well-received presentation at a tech conference within a year. I think it's totally doable. And I wish you best of luck with that. Absolutely let me know how that went. If you do this and pull this off, send me a video. Like I'd be happy to share that, or just tell me how it went. I'd really love to know how this played out for you. People have so much interesting stuff to say, and a lot of times as developers, we're in some sense too timid to go out there and share our perspective. And you should absolutely do that, and more people should do that. And it's going to make the whole developer community better. Cool.